and there's if you see here, I'll go to the top. This is a domestic extremism lexicon from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. All I did was Google it, and it came up. There is another document that I guess revamped this one. Because they, like I mentioned, they said they took it out of circulation, which is bullshit. But what they did when they revamped it, they just put these terms here on your left side in broader terms and not so specific. So so people wouldn't more or less pay attention. So what they did, they put these terms like anarchist extremism, animal rights extremism. They put these things in broader terms so that it wouldn't be so specific on a certain group of people. All right. So the document still exists. They still use it, but like I said, the terms are broader. All right. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna go to the ones that I felt had something to do with Israel. They word it in a way where they're not gonna say Hebrew Israelites, obviously, because they don't want the attention, to be honest. But I'll show you the terminology that they use for us. All right. It says Homeland Security reference aids prepared by the DHS, which is the Department of Homeland Security, Office of Intelligence and Analysis, provide baseline information on a variety of homeland security issues. This product is one in a series of reference aids designed to provide operational and intelligence advice and assistance to other elements of DHS, as well as state, local, and regional fusion centers. DHS/INA intends this background information to assist federal, state, local, and tribal homeland security and law enforcement officials in conducting an analytic activities. So what they use it for is they use it to study us, to say, okay, what this group, they call themselves this, and this is what their beliefs are, and that's what this is for, so they can analyze it and they can kind of like investigate or infiltrate or whatever it is that they decide to do to us to round us up. This is what they use this document for. It says this product provides definitions for key terms and phrases that often appear in DHS analysis that addresses the nature and scope of the threat that domestic non-Islamic extremism poses to the United States. Now notice it says non-Islamic. Now they made a big point in pointing out the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda, which supposedly is Islamic, factions or sects or whatever you want to call it. So now they're saying in this document that it's non-Islamic extremism. So in other words, what? To be an Israelite, to believe that you're an Israelite, and they have these different terms in this document here. But I'm gonna continue on real quick. It says non-Islamic extremism poses to the United States. Definitions were derived from a variety of open source materials and unclassified information, then further developed during facilitated workshops and DHS intelligence and analysts knowledgeable about domestic non-Islamic extremism in the United States. So in order for somebody to be knowledgeable about something, they've had to infiltrate, right? So which it doesn't prove that Gehenna sold out or Comfy sold out, but what it does say is that they're using somebody. They're using somebody because they had to gain knowledge from somewhere. They had to gain that knowledge from somewhere, and those two got the bullseye on their back. They got the bullseye on their back because they're the ones that's half-assing. All right. So I'm gonna go into these few that I wanted to go into. All right. It says here black nationalism. It says a term used by black separatists. Now, didn't the Heavenly Father separate us into Himself? So if you believe that, and you call yourself an Israelite, you will fall under this term, black nationalism. It says a term used by black separatists to promote the unification and separate identity of persons of black or African American descent, and who advocate the establishment of a separate nation within the United States. Now we don't have a separate nation within the United States because why, we're in slavery, but we still advocate the law of the scriptures. When you have separate laws from the place that you live in, isn't that a separate government? So this we fall under this title here, this black nationalism title. All right, now they have another one here right underneath it that says black power. It says a term used by black separatists to describe their pride in and other in the Salakia describes their pride in the perceived superiority of the black race. Again, we don't call ourselves black, we call ourselves Israelites. But they put us under that umbrella as far as being black. They put us under that umbrella, so you know who it's talking about. It's talking about us. Alright? I believe there's one more. Black separatism here. You know what? I'm gonna go into the other two too. I didn't think I'd read it that fast. This black separatism, it says here, a movement of groups or individuals of black or African American descent who advocate the separation of the races or the separation of specific geographic regions from the rest of the United States. Some advocate forming their own political system within a separate nation. Now, you know what happened the last time that happened with Black Wall Street. You had something called the Black Wall Street, and what they do, they bombed them. And this was in their own country. They bombed them. Black Wall Street. I mean, I don't have any documents on it here, but if you want to look it up, look up Black Wall Street, the original Black Wall Street, and you'll see that they had their own barbershops, the law offices. They had everything for themselves. The only thing that they didn't have was a military, and that's what you need to have a nation. You see, but we didn't have that. So in turn, America, they bombed us. So they already been cracking down on black separatism. Any group that has ever been set up as a black separatist group, they've been set up and shut down. You see? So it says here, such groups or individuals also may embrace radical religious beliefs. They consider our beliefs to be radical. When we tell people that the United States is going to have missiles shot on it by way of Russia, and that it says it in the Bible, that's considered a radical religious belief. When we say that Edomites and the rest of the nations are going to be under slavery underneath us, that's a radical religious belief. So we fall under this title too. And really these three, black nationalism, black power, and black separatism, they're all pretty much saying the same thing. In other words, they targeting Israel. They targeting Israel because these are the beliefs that we have. You see? And really, by rounding us up, that's not going to stop anything. Because who we're not the terrorists. The Heavenly Father is the terrorist. The scriptures say that he's the king of terrors. You see? So I'm going to finish reading this, and then there's two more. It says, members have been known to advocate or engage in criminal activity and plot acts of violence directed toward local law enforcement in an attempt to advance their extremist goals. Which is something that we don't do. We don't be out there being violent because we're spiritual men. But you know, like I said, you know, the rest of the you know, this section, we fall underneath. You see. So I'm gonna go down to there's another one here. I think, let me see. They have Cuban independence extremism, which is another. Cubans are what? Are Israelites. You see. It says here. There's another one too that I had that I wanted to go into. Mexican separatism. All right. It says here, a movement of groups or individuals of Mexican descent who advocate the succession of southwestern U.S. states, all or part of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas. And we always talk about those areas being originally belonging to Issachar. You see, so they put it in these different statements, but in other words, let's get them Israelites out there. You know, it says here, to join with Mexico through armed struggle, members do not recognize the legitimacy of the U.S. states, including the U.S. government's original acquisition of these territories. You see, that's our beliefs. That's our beliefs. You see, so they're trying to put us under these different categories, and it's kind of these statements are broad. They don't say Israelite, They don't say Issachar, they don't say Judah, they don't say Benjamin, they don't say those different things.